My experiences as an autistic new mother. Now, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and I don't want to put pressure on myself to say that this is going to be a comprehensive list because I'm pretty sure that as soon as I stop recording, I'm going to remember something else. But here are some of the experiences that I've had. Now, my child is almost 6 months old. Basically, I know that there's a lot of resources for mothers of children who are autistic, but not a lot of resources for mothers who are autistic, or at least none that I was easily able to find. So that's part of why I'm creating this video, is I want to help and encourage other mothers. And if you see me looking around, I'm actually looking for my phone stand, which I see it and then I forget to put it away and then I forget where it is. Anyway, so pregnancy. There was no part of pregnancy that was not hell except for, not having a period. That was great. I really liked that. Unfortunately, I had kind of a complicated pregnancy. I couldn't move around a lot. I've never really been athletic, so, the doctors all wanted me to do exercise every day, and I found that unrealistic. I switched from working in office to working at home partially because of being a non-essential worker and partially just because it was too uncomfortable to go to work and I had trouble making it all the way through my shift. I also found out that I'm insulin resistant, so I had to do finger pricks from I have a finger prick machine, and it reads the blood, and I'm explaining it badly, but basically, if you're pre-diabetic, you know what I'm talking about. It's a little, you poke your finger, it doesn't hurt that much, and then you squeeze out the blood, and then you put it on a little tab and put it into the little machine, and it reads and it tells you your blood glucose level. And it had to be under a certain amount, and then they would tell me if it's above such and such an amount, you need to basically go to labor and delivery, which is like the emergency room, but for pregnant women or pregnant people. And they said that if you eat too much sugar, then it's like giving your baby candy, and if your baby's stomach gets too big, you have to have a C-section, and they really drilled it into me that you don't want a C-section. That was problematic, but anyway. I'm trying to... So my diet was pretty restricted. I had to stop eating sweets just entirely, and they really wanted to discourage me from eating bread and fruit. Like, they wanted to discourage me from eating carbs, and they wanted to encourage me to eat vegetables. But the thing is I don't like a lot of vegetables, and I absolutely won't eat something that I don't like. And some of it is for sensory reasons, some of it is just because I'm spoiled. But um, I found prenatal gummies, so the gummies weren't too bad. The vitamins weren't too bad. As for keeping my diet on track, what I ended up doing, and I actually have gone back to this, TV dinners and Ensure. I think I actually was drinking Ensure Plus or Ensure Protein Plus, or one of the higher calorie ones, but I was living off of TV dinners and Ensure for like the second half of my pregnancy, and I'm not sure if I was if I was taking in as many nutrients as I was supposed to. I actually did end up losing weight during my pregnancy. It wasn't a diet, but it was just something that I did because I lost my ability to sense when I was hungry. I also, let's see, I had pretty bad reflux because I'm assuming it was because he had hair. So that was a thing. And there was one point at which I had really bad digestive issues. So in a sensory sense, it was absolute hell. Um, and I had a friend interview me actually for her class about pregnancy. Well, the interview was about pregnancy. I think her class is a psychology class, a dev psych maybe. And I kind of explained all of this, and my friend has baby fever. And I was like, yeah, like the baby himself is great, okay? Like the best things about having a baby are the baby and then not having a period. Um but pregnancy is it hurts. Like especially if you are really sensitive to like um if you have sensory issues about how things feel. If you have a low pain threshold, it's very uncomfortable, and you won't like it. Um, Now, let's see, childbirth. Oh, also trying to get your nutritionist to understand that you're autistic and you know, have restricted eating just because of autism related things. They're not going to get it. They're not going to care. They're just going to say this is what you need to do. So basically, find a way to kind of cheat around that. Like, I want you to be able to get nutrients. What I ended up doing was getting V8 and drinking it because, like, that doesn't suck as much as having to, like, actually stand up and prepare vegetables, okay? Um, so if you can tolerate the taste of V8, I'd say go for that. Otherwise, there's like canned olives and canned artichokes, which are okay. You can pour the artichokes, they usually come in olive oil. You can like drain out the oil and then put them in the toaster oven and bake them for like 10 or 20 minutes, I think. And so that's a way to get vegetables, or just like stick with vegetables you like. Don't be afraid of the fruit. As for the simple carbs, unless you are like flat out diabetic, it's okay to eat bread and grapes if that's what you can eat. But there aren't really a lot of OBs that are trained to, and nutritionists who are trained to actually deal with autistic patients. Uh, Now for childbirth itself, I wound up giving birth at Stanford, and that was good for the reason that their epidural system is fantastic. You can go there and they give you the epidural. Like, if you request it immediately, they'll try to get the anesthesiologist in there immediately. And you do have to have some pain medication before that so that you can tolerate the epidural going in. And it sucks. Like, that moment sucks. But then once they start pumping in the pain medication, you feel a lot better. Um, Now, see, I was actually in labor for 21 hours and they wanted me to do an emergency C-section, but because the nutritionist team had used C-sections as a way of scaring me into eating the way that they wanted me to eat, I didn't want a C-section at first. I ended up getting one because I couldn't, even with the epidural, could not tolerate the pain of pushing. So I ended up getting a C-section, and they give you more medication for that. I actually ended up waking up in the middle of it twice and asking them to stop what they were doing and give me more medication because I could kind of feel what they were doing. So again, it's a bad sensory experience. And again, my goal is not to sound negative about having a baby or anything like that. I love my baby. I just want to be realistic, especially, if you're an autistic person who has the ability to go through childbirth. I want you to know, like, what you're getting into. So I actually had trouble bonding with him for the first month. Probably partially because he was In the hospital, he had a congenital heart defect which needed to be repaired, and so the nurses were mostly taking care of him. And I was honestly afraid because I have a hard time with like high pitched noises, and babies, they cry loudly. Um, and I had trouble figuring out how to calm him down, whereas Loki was really, really good at figuring out how to calm him down. And that is something that you need to be prepared for. You need to, if you don't have, like, if you don't have someone who's like a reliable father of the baby, you do need to have a reliable friend or someone who can step in and help you, because Loki went for a job interview or for job training, and I had to call him back because I couldn't handle that, being alone with the baby. I pressed the call nurse button and then I just like absolutely panicked. Oh, by the way, this video isn't very well edited. It's just my phone has the option to stop recording and then start recording, or to pause recording and then resume recording. So you're seeing a bunch of jump cuts. If I get emotional, I do try to stop the camera because that's not what this is about. Okay, so the screaming and the crying are going to be really hard to deal with, and you do need to have a partner to help you with that, with, guiding you through figuring it out. You're going to want to wear earplugs at night. It's a really good idea to sleep in a room that has a noise machine. Now, this apartment had a built-in noise machine. It has a very loud air conditioner in the master bedroom, which is where our bed is, and it's where the baby's bed is. Okay, so we have like a built-in noise, white noise machine. But babies, when they get a little older, they start fussing in their sleep. They'll make little noises like meh, eh, eh, and then they'll like kick around and stuff, and you'll be able to hear that. So if you're really sensitive and it makes it hard to sleep, again, have a partner who can help you with that, with getting up with the baby. You maybe taking turns. Wear earplugs if you can, if it helps at all. Good news is that if you do have a white noise machine and it's like close to you, if your partner snores, it will drown that out. So, and oh, if you don't have a friend that or partner or who can room with you, I don't have any advice for that. I only have advice for like the situation that I'm in. So, again, this is not meant to be a comprehensive guide. It's just meant to be kind of based on experience as an autistic mother. So, another thing that you're going to learn is that everybody stims, and that everything that babies do is actually stimming. Like, when they get old enough to move their arms and legs, they'll do that. Like, they'll put things in their mouth a lot. And even before they start teething, they'll put stuff in their mouth. They'll like hold their feet when they get enough motor control, and they'll try to put everything, like including your hand, into their mouth. They might not want a breast in their mouth, so they might not ever take to breastfeeding. That's okay. Bottles are fine. There are some bottles that the nipples are shaped like breasts, so if you do want to breastfeed, and keep it consistent, you can get a Tommy Tippy bottle, or a Spectra, I think, are very, very good. The toys that my son likes the best are crinkle toys. So, if you're sensitive to crinkle noises, maybe don't get crinkle toys, but there's crinkle toys. If you like, it sounds kind of like a newspaper crinkling. And then he has a jingle ball. I'm trying to pick these up very carefully so they make minimal noise, because again, my audience is people with autism, or for this video. And those are his favorite. Like, they really like things that make noise, and then there's rattles that make kind of more like a wooden rattle kind of sound. So if you have auditory sensory issues, shop around for the toys that aggravate those the least, and then just have those in the house. My toys were all donated, so I got what I got, and for the most part, they actually don't bother me. Another thing that really helps is we have now. I had this robot cat from a while back, and he really likes the purring. So, like, if you most of her sensors, like her sensor on her chest works pretty reliably. But he finds that really soothing. So if you can like do a purring noise, like if you have the ability to get a robot cat or to look up, cats purring or to just go purr, purr, if you can like roll your R's and make that sound, it might help when they're in the mood to cry. And yeah, sometimes they do just get in the mood to cry, or you just can't figure out what's wrong. Um, you know, the purring noise helps a lot, at least with me. If you have long hair, your baby's gonna want to pull your hair. It's gonna hurt. So I recommend, even if you're not the kind of person who likes ponytails or messy buns, like pull your hair back for just the sake of not having your baby pull your hair, and or like try to find something that works for you. Like if you don't like the sensation of your hair being pulled back, let's see, Loki has locks and he uses like a large headband to just kind of keep his hair away from the baby's reach, and it doesn't pull, it's not invasive. Cuddling them is great. Sometimes they like to smack you in the face, though, so you gotta kind of be mindful of where their little hands are, and their hands will be a little slobbery. Oh, so surprisingly, changing their diaper doesn't suck as much as I thought it would. So, changing diapers is really easy once you get used to it, but feeding them is an odyssey. You don't want to breathe through your nose when you're changing them, though. You want to try and breathe through your mouth. Um, and if you're squeamish about germs, just, get some disposable rubber gloves or something, or plastic gloves, or, some kind of gloves that you can use to change their diapers. You will need to change their diapers like multiple times a day, and wipe them. If you have a large diaper supply, you can't really change them too often, but you got to be careful how often that you wipe them. So I guess only wipe them for, the poo messes. And, if they have blowouts and stuff, then you have to like change their clothes and launder their soiled clothes separately from everybody else's clothes, or at least that's what we do. Or we keep them separate until it's time to do the laundry. I don't actually know if he puts them all in the same load or not. And, the reason he does the laundry, it's not because I'm incapable of doing it, it's just, we live on the third floor, and I am very, very clumsy, and I don't want to drop the laundry going down the stairs. So, there's times that I could do it, and that's not bad. Your house will absolutely be a chaotic mess. So if you have OCD tendencies, you might want to have someone help you clean up, because you're probably not going to have the energy to do that. And if you have a partner who's helping you with the baby, they're probably also not going to have the energy to do that, especially if one of you is working. Disposable tableware is a very good thing. I know it's not environmentally friendly, but it does make your life a lot easier if you don't have to do dishes all the time. So, paper plates, paper bowls, paper or plastic utensils, or, even foam, just any shortcut that can make your life easier is something that I'm going to recommend, just because I don't have the energy to. Oh, and if you have the option to take maternity leave or parental leave, and you have that option to take it for a long time, please do that, because I went off of leave early. I went back to work early, and that was a mistake. Like, on the one hand, yeah, I'm earning money, and that's, going into savings and things we need around the house, and that's great. But uh, on the other hand, I wasn't actually ready, and like my performance has dropped severely because I went back to work too early and I get burned out a lot more easily. Ultimately, I think a lot of this advice applies just to new parents in general, but again, I'm specifically speaking from my experience as a person with autism that has a child. And while this will, probably benefit more than just autistic people, it's specifically, I want to say that if you're an autistic person, please take as much help, as many shortcuts, um, as possible. Not like shortcuts related to raising your child, obviously, but like paper dishes instead of ceramic. If that's something that you can afford to do, please do it. If you can afford to have someone, help clean your home, please do that. If you can't, then apply for anything that will, any kind of resource that will assist you. Um, and again, the medical community is not that great at helping out people who have autism, at least not in my experience. So you are going to have to kind of figure things out for yourself, figure out what works for you, and don't feel guilty about it. Like, you're going to feel, if you're anything like me, you're going to feel like really just guilty about ever asking for anything, but don't. Or guilty about taking shortcuts, but don't. Like, whatever impact your paper plates have on the environment short term is a small price to pay for just your sanity. And like, you can tell I'm not even all there right now. Just I'm really stressed out, but I hope that this helps.